Show must go on.
Is this a musical episode that we're doing here?
Yeah,
That would
that's a
be
good way
fun.
to come back from a little vacation. It's a
Yeah.
musical kitchen sink microscopy episode, complete with choreographed dances and nah,
Yeah.
nah, fuck that.
We'll use AI to do
We're
that.
not gonna jump the shark yet.
No, no, not yet. But we're back, and hopefully y'all missed us. We don't really know exactly what we're going to talk about today, but I mean, we're going to go back to something that I wanted to talk about. This like legal requirement for age verification. Um, at least this will be the seed for the
Yeah,
episode. Uh,
specifically with porn, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, and not just that. There's other things too, but that's kind of like the big, like the think of the kids thing that, of course, is
Right. Yeah.
always going to be the angle that
Yeah.
governments use. But yeah, like you have to do like like a face scan, send your ID, like a photo of your ID to any site you want to sign up to or access or something.
I
Like,
don't know. In this day and age, like I never used to care about stuff like that, but now with like zero reason whatsoever to trust the sitting government, um,
oh
handing them pictures of identification
yeah, like, oh, here's all my data, when
and what kind of kink you're into.
I that's a good point, because then there's a breadcrumb trail
Hmm.
that people can follow, and then they could be like, see, look at that guy's into whatever, what you name it, whatever you're into, whatever you're watching, and I don't like that. Like,
Right.
I
I mean, everything's out there for everyone anyway. I mean, maybe you heard about this. There was a guy that was caught wanking it at a corn concert. Like, like
I
now
didn't
he's
hear
on
about
now.
that. What the what?
Yeah, and now he's on Cornhub. You know,
Oh man. Well, and it's like,
right off the
people.
cob.
Yeah, right off the cut. Jeez, man, you just got one after another there. But like, I don't like governments or businesses having access to the stuff that I'm into, personal stuff. I mean, there's a reason why you have VPNs and private browsing and stuff like that, so that people don't know, because maybe that's personal. Like, some people are okay with it, I, it but it's problematic when like the requirements to even look at that stuff is like, oh yeah, you got to send a copy of your ID or driver's license and stuff, and your fucking social security number and whatnot. Like, can
Yeah, like
anybody see the potential downfalls of that?
is that each? That's each time, isn't it?
Well, for each site, like, you basically they have to verify you for a particular site. So if you want to go to Pornhub, you got to do it there. If you want to go to X Hamster, you got to do it there. Like, every site you would have to.
But I mean, it will be every time though, right? Like
I it
you know how
probably.
there's that little box you can check that's like, remember this device, and it does absolutely jack shit, just like the
Yeah,
closed door button on an elevator.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Good point.
remember this device. Always remember this device. And then you
Or
close the browser and you open it, and it's like, we don't trust this fucking IP address. Like,
yep,
I haven't changed the IP address.
or
Like,
stay logged in. Keep
yeah.
me logged in. Like, that never works. It's always like, oh, log in again.
Hmm.
Like, I remember, I distinctly remember checking that box,
Yep.
and then it's like unchecked. Well, but yeah, I don't know. There's a whole lot of things tied to this, honestly, because, like I said, this is not just adult content, but potentially other things where you would have to age verify and and whatnot. And of course, YouTube now has this new thing where the AI is analyzing what you look at to determine if how old you are. Like seriously, that like it's sort of doing its own AI age verification automatically. But it's like, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense because like, how are you going to figure that one out? I watch like gun tuber videos, so a bunch of shooting videos, but I also watch like gameplay videos, like Smitty and stuff. Um, so it's like, am I a kid? Am I an adult? How are you gonna know? You know, like, and it goes back to like, what could possibly go wrong? I,
Yeah,
it,
yeah. I mean, for one thing, it's definitely going to damage the industry, and I think ultimately that's the ulterior
yeah,
motive
yeah, it is. You're
behind
right.
all of this, and because there's so much like I think all of the UK is doing this now,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course like conservative states in the US are starting to move toward that, like what, Louisiana, Florida, or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. There's a few states that are pushing for that. Well, and the thing is, like, we could be like, oh, we live in the U.S. Well, I live in the U.S. You're obviously in Europe, um, but it's like, hey, what Europe does will eventually end up. I mean, just the companies will want to be erring on the side of caution and just kind of like, well, okay, we got to do this, so we're going to do it for everybody. And it's like, you're right. It'll damage the industry because you're adding a layer, an extra step that people have to do rather than just
Yeah.
going to a site, looking at the content that you want to look at. Oh, now you got to like do this extra thing, um, which could put you at risk.
Yeah.
That is a like a known thing. Like data breaches are extremely common. So,
I'll,
like,
I'll,
who
I'll,
do you trust? I wouldn't
yeah.
trust a government any further than I could throw it. And I don't know how you'd throw a government, but but it's like different companies, like all these different websites and stuff. Like, are they trustworthy? Where I'm gonna like upload my ID and stuff and share it with them? Like,
I
how
mean,
do I know it's secure?
on one hand, that is an area of the internet that is known for anonymity and
Yes.
um, what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to think of the English word. Um,
Well,
um,
they're very overly cautious, I think, or
overly
overly
cautious, but
protective
also
of
like
people's privacy,
yeah, yeah.
privacy oriented.
But like like the adjective you use when oh, discretion,
Yeah,
like they're all
yeah.
about discretion. Yeah. Um, but on the other hand, it's also like kind of a giant target for malware attacks and viruses and
Well,
stuff.
and it is not unknown for being a little shady at times too.
Yeah.
So, like
Um,
the good people who work in the porn industry, they're the ones who are like hyper privacy oriented. But also, there's a lot of bad actors, and how do you know?
yeah. Well,
But
I'll
like,
tell
oh,
you one side effect that they're not anticipating that will almost assuredly happen is the harder you make it for people to access porn, the more violent sexual crime you're going to see.
no,
And
you're
and
right.
that's not making
No, you
excuses for men's behavior. It's just knowing men's behavior and
yeah.
like the fucking primal feral shit that's like just
But
nestled in there,
no,
like
you're 100% correct. And also another side effect that probably is not being anticipated is that by doing this, they're going to push everything into the dark web, essentially
mhm.
into the shadows where nobody can see anything.
Yeah.
Like people
Shout
are going
out
to
to
be
our
inclined,
sponsors, darkweb.com.
but people are going to be inclined to like, oh, well, the regular ways of the ways I used to do things are now all messy and risky and problematic and difficult. Well, why don't I just go over there where it's easy to the high seas essentially? Um,
Not
and
that it's any less risky there, but
no, but like you don't have to provide any information. You don't have to necessarily tell people who you are in those places.
mm,
And that's a problem because it's like, well, okay, now what we've seen this with FOSTA and SESTA that actually made children like it made it way worse because it used to be back in the day things were kind of on the up and up and you had companies Backpage and stuff, Craigslist cooperating with authorities to get bad guys off the table. And now nah, okay, it's all now it's in the shadows, so what are you going to do? How are you going to track that?
right.
and and this is no different, and it
Yeah,
pisses
it's
me
been
off.
it's been since like season one, I think, since we talked about like COPPA and all this like protecting the children
Yeah.
bullshit. And yeah, where has that really gotten us? Like,
Well, it's gotten worse.
yeah,
That's where
yeah.
it's gotten us.
When I hear protect the children, I would rather hear something about like addressing school shootings, like
Yeah. Yeah, which
that,
we just
that's
talked
the
about.
problem, not porn. Not,
No,
not
no,
cuss
porn
words,
is
not
not.
nudity, not
No,
like, oh,
you're
geez.
not harmed by seeing a dick or some tits or something like that. That
Yeah.
that yeah, but
I
that
mean,
yeah.
here in Europe, that stuff is pretty lackadaisical. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
just like, okay, there's some breasts on the billboard over there or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Like
I
I don't
know.
think
Yeah,
I've actually seen that, but like you can walk into a corner store here and there's
mm-hmm.
magazines, and instead of like in the US where they put like this black plastic in front of it, like
Yep.
there's just tit mags right there. Like anyone can
Well,
pick them up and
and
rifle through them. They're not covered in plastic or anything. Like,
no, no, and it's this. Oh God, yeah. Well, not. I mean, you probably haven't seen it, but the fact is, it is doable, right? If
hmm
you wanted a billboard with like a chick with her tits out, or somebody with their uh, dick slanging, like you could totally do that. You could have an ad on TV, and
hmm
that'd be fine. Whereas here, we're so Puritan,
yeah,
and to our detriment, I would
yeah,
say. Um, like a lot of places too, it's not illegal for kids to drink. Like,
right,
hey, you could have a glass of wine as like a 9-year old at dinner, and it's no
right.
big deal. Nobody
My
cares about it, and there's not a problem.
my
Like,
my stepdaughter's 17. She's old enough to buy her own beer.
yeah,
And I tell you what, we were on vacation. I was like, "Hey, do you want some of my beer?" And she's like, "No." I
yeah,
mean,
it's
it wasn't a thing. It's so not a big deal
yeah.
that that if they don't want to, they just don't want to. It's
Mhm.
not like they feel like they're going to be cool if they do it or something. I
Well,
mean,
in fact,
of course that still exists, but it's not
sure,
as amplified as it is in the United States.
yeah.
You
Well, yeah,
know?
because you try to push things down, and people, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to be defiant. I'm going to be a rebel and do the things I'm not supposed to do."
Mm.
And so it's like that. Yeah, that's
Pe-
definitely a component of
People
that.
really got to let go of that conservative idea that banning things makes them entirely go away.
Just
Like
go away.
that,
Yeah.
of course, that does work to some degree on certain things, like
Mhm.
having murder be illegal is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so of course there are, you know, exceptions to every rule, but
Hmm.
for the most part, like banning things that actually aren't really hurting anybody in the ways that the propaganda says it
That
is.
that's well, that comes down to victimless crimes
Hmm.
essentially.
Hmm.
Like, who's the victim? If there's only one player in the game and they actively chose to participate, they're not being harmed. They're not a victim.
Right. And any other like so like whoops, too much beer. Um Speaking of defending alcohol,
Yeah,
let's
but
just stick
there's
with
nothing wrong.
alcohol for a second. Like any victim that you could argue for allowing kids, and by kids I mean like 16-year-olds or something,
Yeah, oh yeah,
to
and that label always bugs me because like
yeah,
they'll push it up to like 21 or 19 or something, and they're
yeah,
like children. Like they're not
right,
children.
yeah.
Like
Uh,
what the hell?
but
Anyway, go ahead.
any victim of what a kid could do with alcohol is also true for any adult with alcohol.
Yeah.
The legality of it has nothing to do with anything. The law and what is right and wrong almost never, almost never coincide with one
Yeah.
another.
They don't align. But yet we're propagandized essentially constantly that's the right way to be. And yeah,
Mm.
I
I
mm,
feel like I'm I'm not really an anarchist, but I feel like the word law has zero meaning, like zero weight behind it.
yeah, well,
Um,
ever since Nixon, when he said if the president does it, it's not illegal, I was
right.
like, hmm, yeah, the law is meaningless now.
And until Trump, that was just kind of an anomaly, and now it's actually fucking on the books, basically,
Yeah,
because
well,
the Supreme Court was like, yeah, actually,
and that's
yeah,
where I think as a society, as a culture, we should ignore all the noise from the system
mhm.
and take care of things ourselves, police ourselves, be your own cop essentially. That's a t-shirt I should probably make at some point in time. um
I tell you, like I have daydreams of like I tell you, if it's a good thing I am not living in the US right now. I'd probably have been disappeared already because if I were still living there, I would have bought my first gun by now.
yeah.
And I would have been going out at night and doing some Batman shit and
Hmm.
doing my best to put a stop to the crazy ass tyranny that's butting up everywhere. And
Actually,
like
that's
that's what the
interesting.
fucking Second Amendment's there for. And
Hmm.
it's like fucking crickets from all the people that were for my entire life
Hmm.
barking about how we have to have these guns here and just in case tyranny comes around. Then tyranny comes around and it's all like, but I mean, like,
Yeah. Well, it's because people are like, well, that's my team. And the fact is, tyranny's
Mhm.
been around for a
And
long
that was all
time.
by design. That was all
Oh
by
yeah,
design.
yeah, yeah.
But I
Well,
mean, like, it's getting to like, of course, this is all part of this is all the top end of scaffolding that's been put in place for a
yeah,
long time, longer than
yeah,
we've been alive.
yeah.
But now we're here,
Mhm.
and the people that were all bark and no bite are
Mhm.
showing that they have no teeth. And and
E-
the
w-
people that fucking have the teeth aren't like they're fucking like unarmed.
They're just
Like
like,
they're
eh.
quite literally like
Well,
defenseless
and
or
it was part, if you read like the Federalist Papers and some of the early documents and stuff, it was expected that revolution would occur from
yeah.
time to time, that the people would rise up and make changes, and they would do it with arms, whatever arms it might be. And people are like, oh, well, you should only have muskets. It's like, well, yeah, but what, we're living in an era of lasers and fucking rail guns now. So that's the arms that you should have. Um, and whatever it is, I don't care if it's some space technology or something. But it is important to do a reset from
Just
time to time.
muskets, like that's I gotta say that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm all for um changing the laws with the times.
Mm-hmm.
Just as the technology is changing with the times. Like, of course, a
Yeah.
musket isn't going to stand up to a tank. But
No.
I mean, when you think about it, like any fucking kind of handheld firearm whatsoever isn't going to stand up to a tank either.
No, no,
So,
but a musket killed a person in the 1700s just as well as they could kill somebody today in 2025. Like you get hit with that, it's just as lethal. Like it isn't like something's changed. Um,
Hi,
however,
Victoria. Bye,
oh
Victoria.
yeah, I yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like the firepower's definitely got an upgrade, but
yeah.
um, at the same time, like the maturity of society, I think, has been outpaced by the maturation of technology.
Well, and I think people are
Like we're not
complacent.
ready for this kind of firepower, I think.
Well, I think people have become complacent where life is so comfortable that it's easy to think that things are fine, even if they're not. Because, and I don't like invoking the founding fathers sort of thing, but if they were to look at today, how things are, they'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, y'all are crazy. Everybody's crazy. Like, what are you doing? You guys, dude. um, and they'd be like, you have all these guns and stuff. You should be overthrowing that government and instituting another one. Because
Wait,
like
wait.
it.
I have to address this comment actually. Hi,
Mhm,
sorry to weirdly pop in and let you know I'm not going to be here. Got company. Hope you guys have a good talk. Well, your
mhm.
fucking company should be watching the show too.
Hell yeah! What the hell? Yeah,
Put it on the
hey,
big screen. Come on.
yeah, throw it up. Oh, a thought here. Before I go, a thought. I think we're just uncomfortable in different ways. No, this is true. Yeah. And I,
Yeah.
I think it goes down to like, I think everybody can agree that things suck, right? Like the way things are sucks for everybody.
Mhm.
Everybody, but now, how do we fix it? I don't know. We need to have a conversation. That's really what it comes down to. And that's where the community comes in. That we have to have a community solution, more distributed. What's good for you is not necessarily good for somebody else. And we
We
have
need a
to accept
major
that.
leaflet campaign.
Yeah, probably involving quiche. Uh, oh, man.
It can't hurt.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would love that if there was a kind of a viral movement to get people on this show. Like
Mm-hmm.
on one of our live streams, just fucking chiming in
Yeah.
this live chat, like, what can we do to fix this? Throw
Mm-hmm.
your ideas out there, crazy as they might sound. Like,
That
even if you're fucking joking, you might come up with something good accidentally.
that
Just
maybe we should make that next week's topic is like having I guess I don't know, town hall meeting or something
yeah,
to discuss things and bring up ideas. Because yeah,
giant
it's like I don't
campfire
know.
bonfire discussion.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Let's
Hell,
light
I
the White House on fire and have a
yeah,
bonfire discussion.
exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, like and like I said, the founding fathers, if they looked at things today, they'd be like, how are you all just kind of chilling as
Right.
if nothing's going on. I mean, yeah, there's some vocal voices here and there, but everybody's sort of like, well, I got my sports ball, I got my beer. Life is good, right? I got my pickup truck and my boat, like, well, okay, yeah.
Future's so bright, I gotta wear shades.
See, now that would be a way to end the episode. You
Hey,
jumped the
where's
gun
my
there.
harmonica?
Yeah. But yeah, it's like we do need to affect change. And we have a system that expected that to happen. And that's why all of these things are in place. Like, oh, it's expected that like the government, of course, governments get corrupted. Oh, like more and more as time goes on, and it's been a lot of time, so it's very
Yeah.
fucking corrupt. And like maybe we need a reset. What is that going to look like? I don't know. Um, I I would like. I don't know. Personally, I think I'd like to see change, and I'd like it to be peaceful if possible. But hey, you know what? Sometimes you need guns.
I yeah, I mean, so of course there were like all these rumors this weekend about Trump being dead and like he kind of fell out of the public eye, which is unusual for him. He's usually making the headlines daily.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess just recently, a few hours ago, he made a bunch of like crazy tweets, which if you ask me, if Gavin Newsom can write shit that sounds like Trump, anybody can, but that
Well,
that's
AI
just
could
me.
easily, by the way, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but if if Trump were to die, an optimistic nugget inside of me hopes that JD Vance would then be like, okay, guys, I'm not as fucking crazy as I had to pretend I was because this dude was threatening my family, blah blah blah. Like I hope it's something as simple as that. Like Trump dies, the crazy goes away. Like
Mm-hmm.
and he's old and not in good health. It's gonna happen soon.
I
Sooner the
mean,
better.
well,
Like,
when
but
you basically eat McDonald's every day,
Mhm. Exactly. Like he's got this crazy bruising on his hand and all the pictures they've released this weekend to prove that he's alive. The bruise is gone, but whatever. Um,
well, I would say we need to go deeper. That it isn't just who's president or
no,
whatever.
of course
It's
not.
the
Like there's
entire
a lot of bad
system.
actors that are
Yeah.
really
Well,
pulling the strings, but
we need to tear that system down and
hmm,
build up a system that is more immune using the lessons we've learned, is more immune to corruption, and is more in line with what, because to me, it's like if government exists, the only role of government that's valid is to protect people's rights.
yeah,
That's basically it. That's all it has to do. And maybe organize things if there's some kind of big ass thing that happens, like a, I don't know, giant flaming meteorite comes down. Like, well, what the hell? We need somebody to coordinate all this stuff because FEMA's not going to do it. You've seen Hurricane Katrina, right? Like the very first thing they did was they had the ball and they dropped it. Like, okay, so I there's a limited scope in that regard. Um, yeah, oh man, but I think it can be agreed that the way things are not the way things everybody wants it to be. Everybody, whatever your political persuasion, whatever your like sexuality or whatever, like
and
it like nobody's happy with the way things are. So like, hey, there's one thing we can agree on, even if we disagree all the time. And that one thing is like, hey, the system sucks. Maybe we should rebuild it. So yeah.
yeah, that definitely.
Hmm.
definitely has to happen.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there's rife examples of governments around the world that had two-party systems for a
Hmm.
very long time, moved away from it, and have seen immediate positive
Yeah.
results
Hmm.
from getting away from that. Uh,
Well,
the
and in the US, it's basically the uniparty
it
at this
is
point. Well, in the UK also has
any
the same.
two-party system, of
Yeah.
course, is
It just
just one party.
blends together eventually
Yeah,
and merges.
because the only true party is money,
Yeah. Yep.
and
And control.
yeah, and I honestly like Germany has a very young government when you think about how it really had to kind of start
Yeah.
over from
Yeah. This is
scratch.
true. Yeah. Hmm.
And the democracy they've created has so many fail safes to prevent a two-party system from ever happening ever again,
Yeah.
or as we might as well call it, a one-party system.
Yeah.
Um, like there are like the several parties. Um, there might be one that has a majority, but then the other has to form a coalition and like play nice with the other parties and
Hmm.
have, an adequate representation, and then the actual like leader of the country is chosen by the representatives that the people elect, and they're
Hmm.
actually representing the people because there's enough parties to go around
Yeah.
to, compete with one another to represent the uh, vast differentiation in ideologies, and even amongst all this, I still see glimmers of a two-party mindset,
Yeah.
conservative and liberal. It
Yep.
always boils down to there's only these two ways of thinking about politics. But
Which blows
why?
my mind that like I don't understand. Like, okay, you can have your views about things, but like, wouldn't the goal be to make life better for as many people as you possibly can?
Right.
Um, like,
And
is that not a
just
laudable goal?
think about the definition of conservative and liberal.
Hmm.
All it's really drawing a line in the sand in is how you spend money.
Yeah.
Let's fucking forget about money.
Yeah.
Like,
Good point.
people matter, money doesn't.
Well, and like in my mind, if I were to label things like the liberal side of things is like classical liberalism that like, and conservatism is about like preserving the past and making, because I think there's value in both. There's value in progressing to the future, but there's also, it's important to remember where we came from. And I
Well,
don't
that's
think,
the key word, isn't it? Remember.
but that shouldn't even be political. That's the thing. It should be
Right.
social. Like, why is that part of politics? It makes no sense.
Yeah. I mean, that to me is why conservative mindsets are often backwards facing. Like it's
Well, of
all
course, by
tradition,
by
like
nature, yeah.
yeah, and it's like that doesn't make sense because everything changes whether you like it or not.
Well,
So
no, because I sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But just I was forced to watch a video at work about the Native Americans in Washington State. It's this thing
why?
we have to do, and I don't know. We do these things, um, but it was interesting because it's like, hey, for a time the tribes were sort of pushed down by the essentially the progressives of the time, which would be the Europeans who came over here, and they're like, oh, we're going to put you in schools, and you can forget about all of your tribal customs and history and whatnot. You're gonna dress like us. You're gonna be like us. What? So that's the progressive side of things, I guess. The conservative side is like, hey, remembering the tribal customs and preserving that so that we don't lose it, like the language, the dress, the clothing, the history, the stories and stuff, and like that is important,
Well,
I think.
there's one important distinction to make there, though. It wasn't like, hey, you don't need that religion anymore. There's this thing called science. It was more like, hey, your religion's wrong. Our religion is right. Our traditions
Well,
are right. It was more like a more strong conservatism came and
well,
mowed over the old conservatism.
it's just they had bigger guns, basically,
Yeah.
bigger whips. And religion, yeah, religion always, the conflicts between religions always fosters bullshit, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Like there should be respect. But that's my point, is like it is important to preserve the past. That like we need to remember that stuff. Um, History and our stories and even religion. Like I as much of a science oriented, fact, like logic oriented person I am, I practice witchcraft. I like, just because, like, to connect with the earth, to connect with nature and stuff like that. Like it brings me into that realm in a way that science can't. Um, and yeah, it's woo stuff, but whatever. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to lose myself in it. That's what it comes down to, I guess.
Well, my first wife was Wiccan, and I remember, being interested in that stuff and dabbling in it a bit
Mhm.
myself, um, before really embracing atheism.
Yeah.
And honestly, like even to this day, I really don't see any harm in that, because that's a very reflective, inward facing
Yeah.
sort of religion where like there, of course, you can like cast spells on other people, but for the skeptical minded people, they all, of course, realize that those don't do anything
Yep.
in reality. So it's actually not hurting or helping anybody. It's just a neutral, harmless thing.
Yeah, well, and for me, I guess like the witchcraft aspect is more of like an introspective
It
sort
is,
of
yeah.
thing, like tarot cards and casting spells and rituals and things. Like
The important thing
it's
is it's not about proselytizing and converting
no,
others, like
not at all. No, I mean,
if
I
that,
may,
which is kind of assault if you think about it. Like,
yeah, it kind of is. And that's a unique religious thing because most religions, I mean, fuck, history is replete with religious zealots going to war with each other.
yeah,
I mean, hell,
still happening.
we're still dealing with it today. Look at Israel and Palestine, for fuck's
Yeah,
sake. Like
yeah,
that is a religious, like, conflict that's been going on for time immemorial. Um, like, hey, y'all can, like, because I remember, did I ever tell you about when Yasser, like I went out when you and I were roommates. I went out to have a smoke, and Yasser had unscrewed the light bulb, and he was sitting in the dark, and we had a conversation because he hails from a different culture and religion, um, and we had a conversation about basically how Muhammad and Jesus were the same person, and it was like this. I shit you not, it was like this teary-eyed hugging thing,
oh wow,
um, where he's like, "Oh no, you're totally right," and it's like, yeah, can't we all see that? Well, I
yeah,
mean, it is the same. Like it's just a different perspective. It's like you're looking at the same person from a different angle. And Yeah.
even if they were real people and they existed at different times, their message and their symbolicism,
Yes.
that's all basically relatively the same thing.
Yep.
And yeah.
Exactly. Well, and
Um,
even if it is totally fictitious, if it's completely fictitious, you can recognize the similarities
mhm.
and realize, like, oh, maybe we're not so different after all. Like, why do I need to pick up an AK and shoot you?
Yeah.
Um, because like you're basically my brother. Um,
And then you got these mythological religions, which is
mhm.
it's a bit of a redundancy. Um,
True.
but I mean like Greek and Roman and Norse
Oh yeah,
mythology
yeah, okay.
where they were more just like stories, not
Yeah.
necessarily guiding principles for morality or finding answers to everyday problems
Not meant to be
in a
taken
verbatim,
literally.
yeah, like and I would much rather that have been the dominant religion today than what we got stuck with.
Well, the I guess the problem is like the Norse mythical religious beliefs are fairly peaceful,
Yeah.
and like you get into Catholicism and Christianity, and they're when the Muslim people, they're much more warfaring, much
And
more inclined to pick up arms and kill the infidel, which is
yeah, like
totally stupid. Like, I don't fucking understand that.
we're here in my family we're watching the Hobbit right now.
Okay.
Um and anytime I examine these fantasy universes that we have, whether it's Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or
Mhm.
whatever, Game of Thrones, like
Star
all of this
Wars,
stuff,
even.
yeah, all of this stuff, like I feel like as soon as you get really metaphysical about the story you're talking about, flip a switch and say, wait a minute, this reminds me of the Bible or,
Yeah.
like whatever. And right there, like you can go one of two ways, I guess. You could say, well, of course they must have been inspired by the Bible, but you could see it also as, well, the Bible was probably just way back then
Mhm.
the fucking Lord of the Rings of the time, like
It
it
very
was a
well could
story that somebody came up with to show people in an allegorical sense
be. Mhm.
the craziness of the state of the world at the time and
Yeah. Which,
their
frankly,
interpretation of how to make it better,
yeah,
like
and it frankly has not changed over the course of thousands of years.
nope.
Like, human beings are still human beinging. Um,
Yeah.
like it's
Sadly.
still a thing. So, and I think for me, I look at those stories as life lessons of like, hey, this is your ancestors passing down their experiences to hopefully give you a better life in the future. Like, hey, don't make the same mistakes I did, essentially. And that's a good thing. And we shouldn't take it as anything more than that. I mean, it's nice to fantasize. I fucking love getting lost in fantasy. Um, it's one of the greatest things. It's like an escape from where you are, but also it's important to recognize that, like, I don't know, the like where we came from, and also look to where we're going in the future,
Yeah.
and don't pick up a gun and shoot your Star Trek friend because you're a Star Wars fan. Like, that is the stupidest thing you could possibly do. And that is, to me, what I see when I see these different religious factions fighting. It's like, yeah, y'all are like a bunch of Star Wars fans, and then you got Star Trek, you got the Trekkies over here, and they're all like shooting phasers at each other and stuff and blasters and whatnot. And it's like, why? Just
I
go
love
to the convention
I love
and
that
have
we go
fun.
from porn to holy wars. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's all connected though.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Well, we should probably go back and address that though, like privacy.
yeah, yeah. Like that is the thing. Like with the age verification and having to over the internet transmit things like a passport photo or whatever,
Hmm.
like very critical documentation. You're definitely creating a paper trail of recently updated
Yeah.
identifying information in a time where I really would not
No.
trust
No,
anyone.
no, definitely not. Well, and you'd have to ask the question: would you give your ID or passport or whatever social security card to a stranger? Because these websites are basically strangers.
Yeah, I mean, at least if you're in person and you hand some person your ID and you can see that they just glance at it for 2 seconds,
Yeah.
chances are they're not having a photographic memory and like
No.
drawing this later, like
No.
verbatim. They're just checking your age. That's okay. But when you transmit this over the internet, like you have no idea whatsoever whether or not that gets destroyed.
And it probably will
Probably
stay
does
on,
not.
it'll probably stay on a server for a decade or more,
Mm,
where any who knows who has access to that. And it's
right.
like, okay, well, the employees probably do. And then if there's a data breach, well, now the whole planet does.
Well, the biggest freaking data breach was Doge. Like
Yeah, yeah,
going
like
through and like
it,
doing all these fucking mass information dumps, wiping every trace of what they were looking at and then leaving. Like,
and that I guess highlights why we shouldn't have this stuff. Like even government shouldn't have access to that stuff. It has to be private. Your
yeah.
your personal information has to be private in one way or another. I don't know what that would look like, but I mean, again, it goes back to like I know that the way things are right now, it has to change in some way.
Yeah. Um, I can tell you as a biologist, I think the only way that we can do that is with our DNA.
DNA, yeah. Hmm.
Um,
Well, and yeah, you can use DNA and then transcode it basically like into a key, like a public key, to where it
mhm.
can't be reversed, but you can verify that, oh, yeah, that is you, but I can't necessarily know who you are, and get access to all your stuff. That we need that, I think.
Mm. Well,
It,
there are methods being um, developed that integrate encryption with genetic code.
yeah.
The
Hey, you
the
know what?
the the real problem though is you you could theoretically get a new social security number
Yeah.
if you're in witness protection or something, right? But you can't get a new string of DNA. Like
No,
not
this
very
is true.
easily
This is
anyway. Like
true. So yeah, there's
not without
downside.
some serious like potential fuck ups with
Yeah.
CRISPR, like
Yeah, true. Oh man. But I mean, yeah, oh boy, I that's a
so like the concept of the government having access to our genetic information is something that people really need to have in the back of their heads. Like,
Yeah.
this is something that everyone should have an ear to the ground for. Like, how
The-
do I protect this
it's a
from?
conversation that has to be had, I think. And
Yeah,
people are lackadaisical and not willing to do that. I mean, even biometric data, that's another thing that, like, oh, yeah, governments should have access to that. Like, uh, uh I don't know that I trust them to have that information because, you know, today it might be like, oh, your people are the people large and in charge, but tomorrow it could be somebody who's not like oh, oopsie. Uh, so, like, do we really want to set the stage for that? And I would argue not. Like,
yeah,
I would like to see the government have less information. Have to, like, hey, if we want to find something out about somebody, we got to have the FBI come in and they got to do like actual sleuthing, like Columbo
yeah.
shit. Um, like, oh, you have to exert some effort. Um, but of course, the terrorist argument and stuff, like, oh, well, think of the kids. We got to have all the information about everybody.
Right. Let's let's examine that deeper.
Okay.
In our lifetimes,
Mhm.
it was good enough to have a driver's license,
Yeah.
and that says I am who I am. Of course, there was a shit ton of weak points in that and ways that to dance around that. But if we're being honest, the biggest victims of any of that was just the government.
Yeah.
Oh, the government got screwed. And there was some fraud against the government because of identity and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And yeah, of course, like people had their identity stolen and credit in their name and stuff, but like the whole credit thing is like a whole other realm of bullshit that I don't want to go into right
Oh
now.
yeah, don't get me started on credit. Oh my god,
But
how the
like, why does it have to get so complicated? Like, it's
yeah.
all complicated just to protect the government. It's not really there to protect us.
No, no, it's to protect the government and to protect corporate interests too.
Mhm.
And yeah, no, you're right. It doesn't have the people's interest, like, at large, in mind. Like, it is 100% all about keeping people subservient and keeping them down, controlling people, being in control of the things, and not letting people just live their lives freely.
And something that I think is not talked about enough is that freedom, liberty, like, isn't that sort of contingent on having freedom and liberty to control your own identity?
Oh, that's good. That's a good point. I hadn't
Like,
thought of that. That's
like
good.
your name, like your parents give you that.
Yeah, you
It's
you
it's
were
not
like,
like it's not some complicated governmental process. I
no,
mean,
no, that's a
it
good.
becomes
All they
that,
had to
but
do was write it down when you were born as a
right.
baby,
That's
and
how it
like, oh,
was for
you're stuck
fucking
with it.
thousands of years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, now you got to go to a court and give them a really good reason and
Hmm.
let them take logs of all of your identities that ever were,
Yeah.
and we'll know
Well,
about all of your online identities as
it's,
well.
I guess it's kind of like the mafia.
Yeah.
Like, it's very easy to join, but very difficult to get out of.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
and
A, a friend of ours, like years ago, got stopped at the airport and questioned, and they asked him about every single alias on the internet he's ever had years ago.
oh wow,
And
jeez.
yeah, and just imagine what it's like now.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, it's like, when you go to a store and you buy a thing, right? They don't look at your ID. If you just like swipe your card or stick it in or tap or whatever, like they're not like checking all your records. You don't have to fill out any paperwork. But oh, well, should that thing that you bought be defective and you have to return it? Well, now all of a sudden there's a bunch of fucking paperwork. It's like this huge form you got to fill out just to return it, I, and that doesn't make any sense. It's the same thing. Like, it's pretty easy to get married. It's really hard to get divorced. So you know,
Yeah.
eh, it shouldn't be that way. But oh man,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
and like here in Germany, in order to get divorced, you have to live apart from each other for at least 1 year
that
bef-
that's a smart way.
before you're allowed to get divorced. I mean,
No,
like,
and
yeah, there is merit in that because it probably allows a lot of people cooling off time and a chance to
mhm.
fix things. But if you think about it from a standpoint of like freedom, it's a little bit encumbering, you know.
It is. Yeah, because like it was so easy to just like sign up. You should be able
Hmm.
to sign off
Right. Yeah.
equally as easy. Um, yeah, and I guess I would go because we were talking about Germany and the way they do things there, and everything's kind of relatively new. Um, it, from an engineering standpoint, I would like to see resets happen where we take all the lessons we've learned, all the mistakes we've made, and stack them up, and like, well, shit, let's not do that again. and and then we rebuild a new system.
Hmm.
Um, because like people act like the the existent systems are the only ones. Like, oh, if there's a religion or there's a government or whatever, it is valid and true and we have to accept it. No, we don't. We don't have to accept it. Because the same, like, we're idiots today and we were idiots back then. And we tried that, and I think we can like take it apart and start again. Like, oh, because it's continual evolution.
I've been
Um,
an idiot in the past. I've been an idiot in the future.
Dan Quayle. Oh man. Yep. I believe
Slightly improv, but yeah.
humans and fish can get along. Oh man, but I think it holds true that like we shouldn't just say like, oh, because this is the way it is and it has quote unquote authority, that it's the only way, that
Yeah.
like, oh, because my parents were that way or whatever. Like, no, we should question everything and
Yeah.
challenge everything and be changing things and be like, hey, this is dumb. Why don't we like stop doing that? Because obviously there's dumb things happening. Why don't we start again? Like, I don't see how that's controversial. And
That's why I feel like it really sucks that the US made it so hard to change things. I understand what they're going for, right?
yes, yeah, there's a
That
reason for that.
that and the reasoning, while it does make sense on paper, practically looking back now,
Yeah,
would you rather have it be so hard to change what has clearly already gone wrong and is being used against the majority? Or would it be better to have like a little bit of a haphazard thing that never really finds its footing, but it's constantly changing with the times and never really gets to a point where it can be used as a full integrated fucking weapon? Yeah.
No, you're totally on point there. That like you get somebody. Well, basically, you just don't want there to be a possibility for a tyrant to
Yeah.
take charge and control the whole thing and use the system as a bludgeoning tool against the populace.
Hmm.
Like, hey, it should, and like what you're saying about changing the rules on a congressional level or whatever, there's a reason for that because kings,
Yeah.
like it ought to be difficult, but we also have the fallback in the form of the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. Like, hey, we can speak freely, and also everybody's got guns, so you know, well, it's going to be a little hard to enact whatever the hell you want to do if people disagree because yeah, it's I I would argue the Second
But
Amendment
we're
applies to bigger stuff too, but that's just me.
yeah, but I mean, like, even if I don't think that's enough anymore.
Well, no,
Like
no, no, you're right. I
the monster has become so incredibly powerful
yeah.
that there's not really enough firepower to stop it.
Well, there
It's not about firepower anymore. It's not about free speech. It's not even about the two working together. Like there's a missing element that we're not seeing,
no.
or that we didn't see early
Well,
enough. And I think that
we
is like flexibility in the government.
yeah, well, we have enough firepower. That is like hands down totally there. However, the problem that I see is that people are complacent. Nobody's willing to stand up and be like, "Hey, this is dumb.
Hmm.
Like, we got to stop that." And be willing to put their differences aside to stop it. People are like, "Oh yeah, I don't know. That's a
Well,
fight that
that's
I have
not
to."
complacency. That's engineered like infighting.
Yeah. Well, no, you're right. That yeah,
Like we
we're
can't
too
come
busy.
together because we can't agree
Yep, we're
on the
too
end
busy
goal.
fighting each other to be able to work together to solve a problem.
Hmm.
And that, like, from a political side, that's its own thing. But you could also look at it from like a pragmatic side of like, well, what if there was like an inbound comet that was going to hit Earth and take out everything?
Hmm.
How are we going to work together? We can't even agree on like fucking pineapple on pizza, for God's sake.
I was
Like
I was gonna bring this up as a lightning strikes twice, but have you heard of this soft secession talk?
no.
So the blue states are talking about withholding payment from like payments that they collect on behalf of the federal government. They're just
Mm-hmm.
gonna stop paying them
Yeah.
until shit goes back to normal or whatever, whatever normal is. But
Yeah,
but of
good point.
course, we all know where that would end up, right? Like an actual civil war would then
Yeah.
be
And
effectively going on, right?
and I will like, why don't we talk about Civil War 2.0? Um,
I mean,
because
I think
it
that's a
would
good idea. Like,
okay, I agree. And now as long as it's like different than the original Civil War, which
yeah,
it would be, because like
of course.
we don't have clearly defined lines. There's
It's not going to
areas
be
that are
like
all
a battlefield kind of war.
no.
It'll be a Cold War.
Yeah, or a meme war maybe, which
Yeah,
which I'd
but
like to see that. Like, hey, show me your best memes. It's like having a rap battle or something.
but if
Like that'd be
if you
good.
think about it, like these other, like there's no such thing as a blue state or a red state. Of
Hmm.
course, there's people on either side of that fence
Yeah,
everywhere. So
within and without. Yeah,
so you really couldn't have a battlefield sort of war.
no,
What you would end up with then, I think, is the opportunity for a peaceful transition to a new form of government. And this
Yeah.
is exactly, if you think about it, like this is exactly what happened with the original Civil War.
Yeah.
Like because there are historians who say it wasn't really a civil war, and really all that happened is that like there were just two philosophies that clashed, and then eventually they coalesced and
Hmm.
went with one way and kind of evolved in that direction.
Yeah.
And that's really what just needs to happen. But it this time around, we actually need a hard reset on the system of the government itself. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that's the only way that could actually
This is,
feasibly occur.
yeah. And this is a thing that 100% of people can agree on.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
And
what?
then everyone has choices. They can stick with the conservative way, the
Yeah.
traditional way, the way we've been doing things, the
Hmm.
same fucked up shit day in and day out. If you're comfortable with that, you go live
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah,
Go right
exactly.
ahead. You're
Yeah.
free to go. You
Well, and
know,
then
like
you have like the
we'll pay you
libertarian
moving
side, and then you
fees, you know.
have the like progressive side, and everybody. Like. I'd like to see, as a person of science,
Hmm.
I don't like hearing people argue about stuff that we haven't tested scientifically, like in the lab. And the lab is the world. So
Right.
I'd like to see, why don't we try it? Like, you want to do uh like communism, like go ahead, do that over there. You want like a conservative place that's all like right leaning and whatnot, and you do that over there. And you want kind of more libertarian or an anarchist, like, oh god, I would fucking love that. But you have the opportunity to test that, to see, like, hey, because like everybody says that their way is the right way, and nobody has a fucking clue because it's never been tested correctly. So why don't we test it? Why don't we actually experiment? Like, put it
Most of these
on the
things have
stage.
been tested all
Well,
over the
kind of.
world. I mean, but it,
But in
it
the context of like religions are in charge of things, governments are in charge of things, and like it's all muddy.
yeah,
So I'd like to see, hey, why don't we try something where it's clean? Where like, oh, we reset everything and everybody just goes to their respective places, and we see what works.
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, I think what people would benefit from, and I think what everybody wants, is something that works, right? Where everybody's healthy and happy and safe, and it is not wanting for anything. I mean, that's what we're gearing for, I think.
mm,
So like, we're idiots if we just say, well, this is the only way, it's my way or the highway. Well, that's fucking stupid. No, put it to the test. Put it in the petri dish. Let's find out if that works. If it does, hey, good. If it doesn't, throw it away and we'll
yeah,
try something else. I like that. Yeah.
yeah. It would actually like what I would really love to see is a civil war situation where
Mm,
blue states break off, start something new, and almost assuredly it would be more than a two-party system
yeah.
because that is honestly more of a progressive consideration than a conservative one.
Well,
If
there should be more than two parties. That, yeah.
yeah, so the red states would probably continue verbatim with how the United States has been and stick with the name and everything and the flag and the
Some
pride and all that
would.
shit.
There's a lot more libertarianism in that party than I think you're aware of. So it would
Yeah,
be
but
a little bit
even
fractured.
even within that, like
Mhm.
it always boils down to this conservative and liberal leaning.
Yeah.
of
Well, I mean,
whatever party.
the
And it's like,
libertarians are basically liberals, sort of, not progressives, but liberals.
eh,
It's
yeah.
and this is, it comes down
I've
to
always
like,
seen it
it's not
as
black and white.
Republicans that smoke pot. Like
Okay, well, yeah,
they really remind me more of
and
conservatives, but they're
it's
more about like personal liberty than
yeah, it's
conservatives who
Republicans
are
that
more
smoke
about
pot.
like corporate liberty, you
It's
know?
Republicans that smoke pot and maybe are gay.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you never know. Yeah, like,
Out of
okay,
the closet gay, let's say.
yeah,
Like
yeah, out, yeah.
but
But
I would expect that would be the way that the red state faction would go is the traditional avenue, right?
yeah, some would, yeah.
And then I would hope that like the blue state side would actually break into a more balkanized situation.
I
Like,
was actually going
hey,
to bring that up. Is like, we,
let's say the dense urban populations can be their own thing, and the fucking people that want some peace and space can have their own thing.
yeah, yeah. Oh, the urban versus suburban, and
But
like,
treat it like the EU, you know, like
yeah.
you can be like on certain issues,
I
like
No,
one
dude,
kind of whole
I totally
strung
agree.
together thing, but you all do your own thing anyway. Like,
Yeah, I totally agree with you on balkanization, and it doesn't have to come to blows. That's the thing.
right.
Like, we could be like, hey, well, why don't we just split the shit up, and y'all can be over there doing your thing, we're gonna be over here doing our thing, and we'll just see what happens. Like,
Yeah.
and people are free to move. That's the important thing, that nobody's locked down. This is not, we don't need a fucking Berlin
That's
Wall.
that's where the EU thing comes in, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
hey,
people
we all agree, like if someone doesn't like living there, they can freely move over here.
yeah.
No fucking customs bullshit, passport bullshit.
Oh
Like,
yeah, no, we
you
don't need
know, like
that.
you just fucking drive over, buy a house, and boom,
Hmm.
that's it, you know?
Hmm. And like, agree that maybe we should just try to get along.
Mm,
And like, hey, 100% of people can recognize there's a problem, but nobody agrees on what that problem is or how to solve it. So why don't we just stop fighting and try to solve it in
Cobra
like a
Man.
practical Cobra, man? Yeah, in a practical way. Like, I don't see where there'd be any kind of conflict there, because
Yeah.
people want to live the way they want to live, and they want to live free and not be judged and be safe.
I, you know, before that happens, there really should just be one giant countrywide town hall
Yeah.
where
Hell yeah. Hmm.
everybody jumps on a Zoom call
Zoom. Yep. Yep. Oh my God,
and
that would be a shit show.
and they all like take a hit of weed or something and they just get all stoned and chill and they just have a conversation about
Yeah.
what they want to see the country become, you know,
Yeah.
and that might lead to a balkanization situation that might lead to
Which,
a kumbaya situation. You don't
yeah.
know, but
Yeah. You never know. And I think the balkanization idea is good. Like, we should start there, um and have this. We don't need like borders. They're problematic in my head.
yeah,
That, like, oh, my state is my state, the country is the country. Like, it really isn't. Like, is there really a
and,
difference between Canada and the US, or Mexico and the US? Like, kind of not,
well,
especially when
honestly,
you get closer.
I would be happy to even see certain like Washington, for instance, say to Canada, like, would you mind if we just become part of Canada? You know,
Yeah,
like
well, you join
California,
BC, yeah.
hey, Mexico, do you want California back? You know,
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
like why not?
Al-
Just
Alberta
offer,
connects with Montana, or what,
yeah.
you know, like, yeah.
You
You
could
know,
become your own thing. You could become Canada. You could become
well,
Mexico. You could
th-
whatever,
this
like
is the thing, and what I kind of said before is like, if there was an impending thing, a space object coming towards Earth, like a Earth destroying thing, all that shit wouldn't matter anymore. All
right.
of a sudden, we'd be like, oh fuck, like if aliens came, like, oh wow, there's a whole bunch of fucking flying saucers up here, like shit. Well, all of a sudden, like, it doesn't matter if you're Canadian or American or Mexican or German or whatever. Like, oh, whatever conflict we had doesn't matter now because those fucking flying saucers are up there, or
Yeah.
that big ass comet's coming down. Like, okay, our differences, we can put those aside, and that's kind of my thought is like, well, we don't need something actually deadly to Earth to do that. We can just pretend that that's the case and operate as if that's the case. Like I did the minute microscopy about the Galactic Empire um, years ago now. Um, but like, yeah, it could be fictitious. It might be real. Some people claim it's real. Some actual people with some weight behind them. But still, like, why don't we operate that way? Why are we like at each other's throats over nonsense?
Well,
Like
here in a couple months,
lines on a fucking map.
we might actually have a situation where there's an alien ship coming our
Mm-hmm.
way.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
actually, like I'm starting to buy into it more
I
now
know.
that the James Webb telescope took some pictures, and there's no tail on this comet, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I
so
know.
it's not a it's
Oh,
pretty clear it's
and
not a comet.
it's hauling ass too, by the way.
Yeah. So
Um,
and like changing trajectory and stuff, right?
yeah.
So
Like
it's pretty clear that there's some aliens on the way, and they're probably going to be like, "Oh, you guys are afraid of illegal aliens, huh? Hold my space beer."
my space dust. Yeah, well, it and maybe because like I'm able to take a particular scenario and internalize it and change my ways, but not everybody is, and so maybe we do need a kick in the pants. Maybe we need like a fucking meteorite or an alien invasion or something for people to finally wake up and be like, whoa, hey, we're just earthlings at the end of the day.
But is not an alien presence already among us?
That's a good speech, by the way. Say what
What
you
was
want.
that? What was
I,
that song you did? Alone Together, was it?
yeah, yeah.
Where you put that in the video and like,
Reagan's speech, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh man, it, but maybe we need that. We can talk and talk all we want, but maybe
But
we're
you
not
have
going
no grumbus.
to, yeah, but we're not going to change any minds necessarily. Like sometimes people, the only thing they understand is like the threat of death, which is sad, but maybe that's the way.
Oh God. Like the way humanity is headed is like a constant threat of death.
Yeah,
It's just how slow or how fast is the question. Like,
I know. Well, we've made a lot of improvements, but it's like
no doubt, no
we
doubt.
can
But
easily make things so much better
right.
if we just put aside our differences and all of our bullshittery and maybe money too. Like
Well,
you don't
it's
like,
also perspective too. Like
yeah.
I was just reading an article. So everybody by now is fully aware that Finland time and again wins for the happiest country in the world, right?
which is
And
also like one of the coldest. Which yeah, okay,
okay, yeah, like it's cold, it's dark often, there's a high
yeah,
suicide rate, blah blah blah. All of this stuff is true.
hmm
But what is also true is that it's not necessarily that they're happy, it's just that they have fewer reasons to be unhappy.
no,
And
that's a valid point.
and
Yes.
and and I read this article where this journalist went there to find the reason, right? And she would ask everybody and like, why are you the happiest country? And they all laughed and they're like, well, I'm not that happy. But but she started to find like the reasons why people said what they would say. And and the people who had traveled outside of their little bubble and seen the United States or the UK
Mhm.
and then came home were like, "Oh, I actually have it pretty good." Um, you know, and and like they have a lot of room to breathe too.
Yeah, they do.
There's nature everywhere you look. There's 5 million people in a country the size of Germany that has 80 million people in it.
Yeah.
Um, Compared that to a giant United States that has 315 million now, I think.
Yeah, it's
Um,
300-ish million. Yeah.
yeah. And and there's this all this fluctuating crazy amounts of happiness or whatever, but why are we looking at happiness and not like detriments to happiness? Like
Yeah. No,
like
that's a good point.
measure that because we already know happiness is kind of a baseline phenomenon, right? Like
Yeah.
it fluctuates on the daily,
Hmm.
minute to minute,
Yeah.
but it always kind of has this baseline that it floats around. But invariably, there are life situations that have a lot to do with the policy of getting along with our neighbors.
Yeah.
And and depending on how that policy is handled, you get along with neighbors better than in other
It,
countries,
it's interesting Finland being so close to Russia.
right?
In fact, being originally occupied by Russia, that
Well,
they'd be so
because
happy.
of that, they feel secure because they also, you'll appreciate this,
Mhm.
have like a standing militia situation where
Yes.
everybody's trained with firearms and so
Oh,
on and
they
so forth.
they have so many guns and artillery and stuff. Like Russia would be stupid to invade. Absolutely stupid. Like that would be the stupidest thing you could possibly do to invade Finland. They know that.
Yeah.
And the Finnish people know that too. Like, yeah, there's no way Russia's going to invade. Like that would be the dumbest thing ever. Like we're going to hand their ass to them on a platter if they invade. So, there's, I guess, in that way, kind of a sense of peace as
Yeah.
well. Like, well, you don't have to worry about external threats. NATO is not going to do anything. Um, Russia obviously is not going to do anything. Um, in fact, they're probably like fantasizing about like the day that Russia invades. Like, oh man,
Yeah.
finally, I get to use all my training.
But like it's funny because, you look at stuff like school shootings, which of
Mhm.
course they don't have that much of.
No.
Now, I don't know that much about the ins and outs of their gun laws, but if people are trained and have access to guns, but maybe it's not quite as liberal of an access as the US,
Hmm.
um, that might be one factor, but also they have elbow room, you know?
Yeah.
You can't point to mental health because they have high suicide rates, of course. So of
Yep.
course, like people are depressed and pissed and whatever,
I mean,
and
it
but
does make sense given their elevation on planet Earth that like it's dark all the time, so people get,
but
yeah.
on the flip side, a lot of people that she was interviewing say, you know what, like we might only see the sun half the year,
Mhm.
but that makes us appreciate it more while it's out.
That's a good
So
point. Yeah.
like there's actually a lot to be said for that
Oh
in
yeah.
that um sometimes you take things for granted when you have a little bit too much of something.
I
And
it's basically an economics is tragedy of the commons, essentially. Yeah.
yeah. So
And
it could be in kind of a sweet spot on planet Earth.
I yes.
Like
Well,
just the
Finland,
right
here
amount of
I
sun.
come. Um, yeah. I well, so why don't we talk too? Because we talked about in the lightning strikes twice about like school staff having firearms and training. What do you think about the idea of, and I know this we're all over the map, but we do that. What do you think about the idea? Because what do you think about the idea of there being a class, maybe in middle school, maybe in high school, where you have like an officer or somebody in the military, a cop or whatever, come into the school and teach people about gun safety? Like, oh, you go out to the range, you shoot some guns, you learn about them, you learn about safety, and like also realize how fucking deadly they are. It's not a toy. Um,
I mean, we kind of used to have that.
we did.
I mean, there would be okay, there'd be rifle clubs,
Mm-hmm.
which I honestly think that would be enough to bring that back because
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
voluntary. If you're interested in guns, you're gonna join rifle club. If you're not interested in guns, you're probably never gonna shoot a school up anyway.
No.
Uh, like
True.
there's a certain type of people that end up using guns ever, and there's a certain type of people that want nothing to do with them, and
Well,
they're
yeah,
not a
but
threat whatsoever in
it,
that
it
aspect, you know?
it's one of
So,
those things like I kind of feel like auto shop that even if you don't want to, you probably should at least take
mhm.
one semester of auto shop so that like you know how to change a tire, you know about like tools and parts and how a
Yeah.
car operates and stuff so that you're not helpless. That's my thought is like we should have a gun safety course.
Yeah,
Like
I still lean toward mm, the voluntary aspects, but
I agree. Well, and
but
yeah.
here's what I would say in kind of a middle ground to that, not
Mhm.
just rifle club, but archery and stuff like
Yes.
that. Like
Yeah.
like for the people that are a little bit intimidated by the idea of guns, but still could stand to benefit from the concept of handling a dangerous weapon,
Some training.
utilizing it for something like a real skill like hunting
Mhm.
or even self-defense that
Yeah.
doesn't require like something as volatile.
Yeah.
Um, like you're less likely to accidentally shoot yourself with a crossbow than shoot yourself in the foot with something with like a hairpin trigger on it, you
I've
know,
believe me, I've seen the videos
like
of
something you got
people
to
with
be like,
the
"Argh,"
yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a little bit harder to
Hmm.
fuck yourself over with
Well,
than a
but
pistol,
I
you
would
know.
like to see people at least have some safety training.
Yeah.
Like I think I don't see the danger in that. Like I think that's a
Yeah.
good thing. We need that.
At the very least, you can have a class on gun safety without ever having to fire them,
This is true.
you
This is
know?
true. Yeah. Yep.
Like here in this class, these guns are never loaded, but we will
Yep.
treat them as if they're loaded,
Yep.
and you need to know how to handle them,
Go through all the procedures.
where the
And hey,
safeties are, blah, blah, blah.
like
Yeah.
going back to your voluntary thing, like, okay, well, we do have a range day.
Yeah.
So if you want to, you can go to this, but you don't
Yeah.
have to. But we're still going to teach you about safety.
Hmm.
Like, to me, it's like, I feel like school is failing kids that there's so many things they ought to know, like auto mechanics, electronics, computer stuff, gun
Critical
safety,
thinking.
critical thinking. Absolutely.
Automatically, like if you're gonna have gun safety, you gotta at
Yes.
least have critical thinking
That should be a
classes.
prerequisite, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
that would that alone would solve a lot of problems in the country if people were taught how to think. Um,
well, and also that would like assist with mental health too.
mhm.
Like there's a lot of things you could
Oh, definitely.
self-solve.
Like
Uh,
you are your first line of defense
yeah.
in preventing your own
Yeah.
problems. Like
No, this
you're
is
your
true.
own counselor.
Yep.
And when you fail, you've got friends and family, you've
Mhm.
got counselor, like professional
Well,
counselors,
and I would like
but
to
like
see
it gets
a
harder and harder the more these steps up you go.
layers. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I would like to see more of like destigmatizing mental health to where people are more open to talk about it, because at least in the
definitely.
US, it's like, oh, you're expected to kind of bottle things up. Like, oh, you know, I'm good. I'm strong. Like, it's okay to be weak from time to time and ask for help. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. That is a sign of strength.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, like, we need to be pushing for that more, because if we have the gun safety stuff, we have the mental health stuff, like a lot of this won't really happen. Obviously, there will always be a thing that happens. It's inevitable.
There's a paradigm shift that has to happen
Hmm.
along with or before that because, you know, as much as I would like that to be true, the whole showing weakness is actually a strength thing. Um, I mean, it is, but
Yeah,
it's certainly not um,
culturally,
practically treated in that
yeah,
way.
no, no.
Um,
The
like,
culture is built around not that
like
antithesis.
the last job I had in the U.S. Um, when I interviewed there, I asked, what's the work-life balance? Like, is there a lot of overtime and blah blah blah? And they were like, no, no. And then guess what? There was a shit ton of overtime,
Mhm.
7-day weeks, working in the middle of the
Ugh,
night, stuff like that.
ugh.
And, you know, I'm all for doing that on the temporary here and there.
Mhm.
Like I understand you can't always control the flow, like the inflow of work and stuff, but
Yeah,
when it becomes evident that they just kind of depend on that being like a
expected.
given,
Yeah,
yeah,
like that's
like
the expectation, is you're just gonna
yeah,
suck it up, soldier.
like
You know?
my department was just three people, the three of us.
Huh.
And before me and this other guy were hired, it was just one guy, and he consistently had these 7-day weeks,
Jesus.
12, 14, 16-hour days.
Oh my God.
And I don't even know how he was still alive. He was older than
Yeah, I was
me.
gonna say, like,
But
probably should have been like having a heart attack every day. Huh.
um and I went to the management and confided in them. I was like, you know what, like I have concern for my department with
Mhm.
the amount of work that is on our shoulders, knowing what my immediate supervisor had endured before we even came on. I was like, there's a problem if that scenario didn't change for him, it just spilled over onto two additional people.
Yeah.
Something needs to change. And I was answered with, well, if you can't handle it, you can just find another job. And
God, Jesus.
and I was like,
Okay, I have to pee real quick, so
all
maybe we
right,
can take a quick pee break.
All right. Well, I'll just elaborate on that.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, I I I quietly acquiesced and continued to do my job, and I did it well. And when the period of necessary overtime began to quell, uh, and things were calming down, guess what happened then? A big round of layoffs came through, and I made it through the first cut, maybe the first two cuts. And then eventually, my poor supervisor was back down to just department of one. And I'm not sure whatever happened with all of that. I bet at some point he eventually gave up and quit, or who knows what happened. But that was just so poorly handled. And there was there was no consideration for the human condition. There was no compassion or, I don't know, any thought whatsoever given to our work-life balance. It was all about the bottom line, and that's kind of what really needs to change about not just work culture in the US or the world, honestly, but just in how we treat each other and see each other in general. Um, there's not enough compassion and not enough consideration for what we need as individuals and as human beings, and that's I think where the core of happiness or lack of things that make us unhappy, where all that
Mhm.
comes in. Like, we really have to see people for humans, not worker bees.
I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment.
Yeah.
Um,
Like that was it's funny when I look now at the boss that said that to me on LinkedIn. Like, she eventually quit herself, and now is trying her hand at motivational speaking. and
I mean,
and
hey, whatever floats your boat, I guess.
yeah,
But
it's funny when I see stuff like that. Like, one of the guys that bullied me in grade school is now like a psychotherapist, and I'm like, oh my God. Oh fuck.
Jesus. Oh yeah, don't sign up for his class, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
people can change, but oh geez, with a background like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
hmm.
I don't ascribe to the idea of like, once a bully, always a bully. I think people can
Yeah.
change.
No, I, in fairness, like, I may still harbor a bit of a grudge just because, like, I don't I don't run in the same circles as him anyway. Like, I don't need to necessarily bury the hatchet in his skull or anything.
Mm.
Um, um, but I did run into him over 20 years ago. So, like, in the grand scheme of my life, not that long after the bullying, I guess.
Hmm.
And he seemed like a really nice, pleasant guy that spoke to me as if none of that bad shit ever happened, which at the time I felt was a little bit of a slight, but like, it could just be that, now that I've grown and matured and learned about human psychology, as apparently he has as well, we tend to remember the things that are done to us more than the things that we do to other people.
Yeah, and yeah, when you're a kid, you do stupid shit.
Hmm.
Um, like
So in all actuality, he probably hadn't, it wasn't on his radar that he was a
Yeah.
terrible person to me. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Well, and maybe you could use his services to help you out at some point. I mean, and it's goes both ways. Like
yeah.
I remember so many people who are like, "Oh yeah, you're the nerd and stuff," and then they're the people who are coming to our shop to have their computers and printers fixed.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it's kind of funny how that works out. Like, oh, you're paying me now. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I like, I don't know. I don't know how to solve things, but I do feel like humankind does need a reset. Um, like we've been doing the same thing, religion and government and stuff for so long, and like maybe we need to like have some kind of threat from above, from the stars or something like that, to make us realize like, oh fuck, this is another person. And you know what, if I don't work with this person, I'm dead. Like we got to work together, dude. Like we're like life is going to be obliterated if we don't work together.
Yeah.
That did actually happen in humankind's past. And in my opinion, I think I well, we've talked about the mana machine and things like
Yeah.
that. I believe that there was a very advanced civilization in the past that got wiped out by something, be it nuclear Armageddon or a comet or something. Um, but like, like, how do you open people's eyes to that?
Well, this three-eye atlas might be the thing
I, it could be.
that like it would be super awesome if this were a ship of aliens that brought us the mana machine. And
Yeah,
quite clearly, uh, if they did that, they would have been benign and hopefully still
yeah,
are.
yeah.
So maybe they're going to be like, "Hey, look, we see that you have some trouble. Um, maybe we can lend some assistance." And I would
Yep.
hope that we would, rather than come together as a force against an enemy, come together as a force of being like, you know what, let's take a helping hand when it's
Yeah.
offered
Well,
to us.
or like, hey, wow, the universe is a lot bigger than we realized.
Hmm.
Like, huh, shit, all our stupid quibbles and stuff that we fight over, like,
What what
it's
do you
nothing.
think? What do you think? Like, how do you think the majority of Earth would respond in 2 months if this were a benign alien species? Do you think they would freak the fuck out? Or do you think they would actually be like, you know what? Like, okay, this is real.
I think it'd be like about a half and half. There'd be some people who'd be like, ah, and they'd be like pulling their hair out and stuff. But then there's other people who'd be like myself, who'd be like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, wow, awesome.
Yeah,
I
like
knew it.
I feel like I would not be like I would have a really astounded feeling like, wow, this is super cool. We always wondered if this was science fiction or reality.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is, it's a reality. But I don't think I would be like keeled over,
No,
or
no,
completely like losing my shit or anything like that. Like
no. It'd be just like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of saw that coming. Um,
yeah,
that
I'd
that
be a,
that that would be me.
I'd be a little worried that our representation would come off wrong because of the world
Yeah,
leaders that we have. But
yeah, but it's like, hey, maybe we're doing the
the
best we can do with what
if
we have.
here's a bit of optimism though. if there is a spacefaring species,
Mhm.
they have to understand from their own, like evolution to where they are now
Yeah.
that a government does not represent, it is not a representative picture of species as a whole.
I Yes. Yes.
And
100%.
we have to hope that they understand that.
Yeah, we would
Because if
hope.
not,
Yes.
we're fucked.
Yes. Yes.
No
But
matter how
then
nice they are, we would be fucked because
that
our
flip
leaders suck.
yeah, but then that flips over to us as a species, a human species, defending our planet against an invader.
Yeah.
Which would bring us together 100%. Like
We'd
if
still be
there was a
fucked, but
maybe, maybe
yeah.
not. It's like,
I mean, we don't really have like we never adapted anything for that
no,
utility, right?
no,
Like
like
we aren't prepared,
no, no. We
hands
have
down. So
we
like
have
like
guns, but we don't have interdimensional guns.
right.
So that's a problem off the
Yeah.
bat. But well, projectile
It's
weapons at the
bringing a
end of
gun to a
the
phaser fight. That's
day. Way to flip the script. Nice. But no, this is true. Like we don't know. And we're so preoccupied with our own internal conflicts that we're ignoring the potential for some threat from outer space, which like okay, yeah, we haven't found anything yet, but the potential, it's not zero. Like it's totally possible. So I'd rather us work together to bolster ourselves against a potential whatever it is, be it an alien invasion or a comet or a meteorite. Like aliens are probably less likely. Comets and meteorites, 100% likely. Like, I don't know why we're not coming together and being like, oh, hey, all those nukes? Let's use those against the comets. Um, because well, yeah,
Well, I mean, if this is a comet, they even said the speed it's traveling at, our nukes can't possibly intercept it.
yeah,
So
I
like
know.
like we are limp-dicked in this
Well,
aspect.
we have to invent new technology to be able to deal with this. And of course,
Here's what
by
I'm
the
thinking.
time it even like crosses our path, it's too late.
Yeah,
you know?
here's what I'm thinking. If I mean, we're live streaming right now, whatever radio frequency this is on, if Three Eye Atlas is intercepting it, we would like first dibs at an interview with you. Please speak to us.
Hell yeah.
Let us be your first introduction to the human
Imagine
race.
that.
Because
Imagine that.
I can guarantee you it's going to go a lot better
Yes.
with us than it will with our world leaders.
Any politician, you pick your poison.
Hmm.
Um,
They all come down there like, take us to your kitchen sink.
well, wouldn't it be crazy if they're like they intercepted our communiques from back in the day and they're like, "Oh, we gotta like haul ass and come in there and talk to these guys." Like,
I
all
smell the next ego story being written.
the presidents and stuff are like stepping out from their expensive jets and things, like getting ready to talk to people, and they just like walk past, and they're like, "Oh, Casey and Erik,
We're
those are
we're
the guys
standing
we want
here
to
with
talk."
with a couple bottles of beer, and we're
Yeah,
like, "Hey,
they're like,
how's it
"Hey,
going?
how about a space dust, bro?"
What is this space dust of which you speak?
God damn, this is good. This is
Show us more of
delicious.
this human thing you call hops."
This human thing you call sex. Well, because that's how you fix conflicts across the world. Sex and trade. I will stand by that to my dying day.
Yeah, but that might offend the aliens, so just keep
It,
that in mind.
it depends. It depends on their biology.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, maybe we'll see.
yeah.
Um, the Quagars.
I always remember that Star Trek 5 was it? Where he like Kirk like kicked the alien in the kneecap or something
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
Bones was like, that's actually where their genitals are and
yeah, yeah. See, even Star Trek Five is good in its own way. Oh God, the trope of like the odd numbered Star Treks being bad, like they're not. Like Star Trek 3 is a damn good movie. And of course,
Generations was super good too. Like
what's that?
Generations was really good. I
Oh
thought.
yeah.
Like
Star Trek
that was a
6.
really good way to bring the two together, I think.
Yeah.
Like that was very well done. I don't know
Oh
why
yeah.
people give it shit. Like, yeah,
I I know. God, Star Trek, dude.
yeah.
It's one of the best. It's so good. Uh,
That would be rad though if aliens came down here and they were like, we want kitchen sink microscopy.
yeah, we're only gonna talk to these guys.
Yeah.
Not
And that
get out of
that
the way.
honestly would be a smart move on the part of the aliens.
It
Like,
would be. It would be.
um,
Because
because you
we're
know, like we are the best equipped to handle that situation. We might not be the best governing leaders. We might not be the best scientists. We might not be the best beer drinkers, but we can have a fucking conversation.
oh yeah.
Yep.
And bring people to the table and bring people together.
Yep.
Um
And I've learned a bit of German, so I think I can handle alien.
German, dude, is like one of the most people say like English is difficult. German is like next level.
Oh
German,
yeah.
like, oh, hold my beer.
I mean, English
Like,
came from German
well,
and
some of
it
it did.
borrowed enough from other languages to
Yeah,
make it so that everyone can kind of understand some English.
yeah, yeah.
But German is like,
German is it's on a different plane.
I mean, even Germans are like, oh yeah, German's hard. Like if you
Yeah,
were born speaking this fucking language and
like
you
what
understand how hard it is, like
I
see how hard it is, you
why don't we just go to Esperanto?
know?
Like I know it's a manufactured language, but it kind of
All
incorporates
languages are
English.
manufactured.
Oh yeah, yeah, but it incorporates a little bit of English, a little bit of Spanish, but like in all the good ways. Um, why not? Why? Well,
I
Red
hope when you come, the weather will be clement.
Dwarf. Well, like I was saying, Red Dwarf. Like all of their signage and text and stuff was in Esperanto. I don't know if you noticed that, but Esperanto is all throughout there, as if like in the future, that's the language that people speak. That's what humans speak is Esperanto. Uh, that's that's good. Hmm.
Well, I'm out of beer and should probably pack it in.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's getting late on your side of the pond.
Yep.
Such a good conversation, though.
Yeah, it was a good comeback after a month off. Our first real vacation on the show.
Yeah, no kidding.
We've we had over 6 years of consistent weekly.
Back to back.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You haven't done a minute microscopy in a couple of months.
Oh shit! I probably should. Okay. Well, hey, call me out. I know.
I was like, oh, It's been a couple weeks. I guess I'll do another one.
I have a few topics, but then I have the Tacoma prepper stuff that I got to do as well.
Mm.
Yeah, that seems to be popular. I like I don't know. I like
I mean, in a couple of months here, we're going to be ambassadors for Earth anyway. So, like,
yeah.
yeah, it's this will probably be our last season before we get just too busy speaking to the aliens.
Like taking care of the fucking planet.
Yeah, like we'll have to retire just because, like duty calls.
Yeah.
We have to save the Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
Altair saves the galaxy again.
Yet again.